So, hopefully the audio on this comes through, because I forgot to hook up my mic to the camera, or I didn't forget, but it's hooked up to my other camera. And today is sort of a bittersweet day for me. Right now you can see we're in the BMW M240i. It's a 2025. I got this car a few months ago, and today we're gonna trade this in for an M2. And it's a bittersweet day because I really like this car. It has really good power. It's fast. It's really good on gas. It's comfortable. The seats are like super comfy. Everything about this car just works. It works really well. But for me, there was something that was happening where I couldn't stop thinking about the M2, which is the big brother for this car. And that kept pushing me to do more research and everything. And then I finally caved in and was like, all right, I guess I need to go get an M2. So today I'm on my way to trade this car in for that said M2. And why it's super bittersweet for me is because I love this car a lot. I really love this car. It's kind of discreet, but still fast. And no one really knows that you have this amount of power inside this car. They kind of just see it as like, okay, nice, a BMW, cool. But what lies beneath that 6-cylinder engine is just a tiny monster, to be honest. Like a tiny monster just living there, and you could access that tiny monster whenever you feel like it to do pretty much whatever you want. This car is 382 horsepower, rear wheel drive. So this is not the X-Drive version, but it still feels super quick, extremely quick. I like about this car is that you could go, if you're on the freeway and you're doing like 70 and you need to get around someone, then you just hit the gas and it just goes. It literally just goes. It doesn't ask any questions. It doesn't think about going. It doesn't wander, like wait till you get way up in the rev band to go. It just literally goes. You just hit the gas and it just goes. And it'll keep pushing and pushing and pushing until I haven't found the limit of this. And honestly, I don't want to find the limit, because that would definitely be far too illegal. So this car is really him. This car is it. This is the car that I think everyone should get or own if they're looking for a BMW. It's nice. I have a sunroof here. It's an automatic, so it has the little flick shifter thing in the newer versions. I have the sunroof. I have these beautiful colored cognac leather seats. I love the color of these seats. When you look from outside, you kind of get that brownish glow, and once you open the door, contrasting or complementing that blue, you have that kind of peanut butter look in this car, which is super luxurious feeling. Even though it's the same leather you get with the black, it just feels 10 times more luxurious having this color in the car on the interior. My previous 230 had the I guess Vernasca leather seats. Those are really hard and uncomfortable, and I'm so glad I didn't go with them for this M240, because these I don't know what these seats are called, but they're far more comfortable. I've been doing 3 hours or 2.5 hours, and I have no kind of fatigue, no nothing. These seats are perfectly designed. They look uncomfortable, or they don't look super comfortable, but they really are comfortable. And like I said, there's a lot of things I love about this car. I love the new flat bottom steering wheel that they have. I love the red thing on the top. A little red marker on the center of the steering wheel. I love the iDrive system. I love the cup holders. I love that the climate controls are now on the screen. The display is really beautiful. It has no kind of issues being seen in bright sunlight, which a lot of other cars have. And my initial 230 had that issue where once it got to too sunny, it was hard to see the display. They fixed that when they went with that long strip or that long LCD screen. That really fixed all display issues, and you could read this thing day or night. It's super clear. What else I like about this car? Might have to pause here. The car looks great. It looks super discreet. I parked it earlier. I have it in the Portimao blue. I parked it earlier in the back of the parking lot, and it just looks like, oh, a nice car. No one really knew what this car could do. It's a if you know, you know type of car. No attention. It just kind of blends in wherever you go. Perfect. You don't get any attention from, I guess, anyone really, because it just blends in so nice and beautiful with any other Honda Civic on the street. Now that was part of the problem. I felt like I had a special car, but it didn't feel special because it looked so simple. It looked like any other Kia. I think Honda has this Portimao blue too, and the Civics have a similar blue color, so it didn't feel super special to me. And I think that's why I wanted to was part of the reason I wanted to upgrade to an M2. And that's what I'm going to grab today. I'm going to trade this one in, which, as I said, I really like this car, but I do want to feel an M2. I do want to feel what that feels like. I want to know what that feels like to drive daily. Everyone that I've read online, or things that I've read online, said this is the car to drive daily, the M240. However, I still want to drive an M2 daily. I'm going for a manual. You'll see it when on the second half of this video. We'll probably do the reverse video of me driving home in that car. And this is me going towards the dealership to pick that car up. On the way back, you'll see all the video of the M240 and see how different it is. Or at least how different it feels to me. Another thing I like about this car, this video is all over the place. I'm just trying to give you my thoughts. Another thing I like about this car is the rear seats, the cup holders in the back. We have cup holders in the back. If you're bringing someone or if you have kids, the cup holders in the back really are super helpful. Put your McDonald's cup or whatever in there. The M2, which I don't know why, does not have cup holders here. Or, sorry, cup holders in the back. So I have no idea what that's about. Something else the M2 is missing is remote start, which remote start for me is kind of cool because you get to stand outside and listen to the exhaust while the car is being started. I think that's the cool part. A lot of people use it to warm the car up before they get in. That's somewhat helpful to me, but I guess less helpful. I'll just get in and warm the car up and go back inside while it warms up. But the biggest thing for me is being able to listen to my exhaust from outside, or that cold start when I'm starting the car. That for me is just like that extra emotion, or that extra audible vibe that you get from owning an M2 or a car with a nice exhaust. But going with the manual in this next M2, I'm gonna have to go in and start it, so I'll probably never actually hear how my car ever sounds unless I give someone else to drive, which is gonna be super rare. What else? For the M2, wireless charging I think is different. Right now the wireless charger is underneath the cup holders here in the front, the center. For the M2, I think the wireless charger is in the glove compartment. I don't understand why the difference for that is. I guess it's so you could put the gear shifter somewhere, the gear stick, but it just felt like you could just solve that by having it here in the center with the cup holders like the previous one. And I don't know what kind of technical logistics caused that change to happen, but that's something I'm gonna miss too, the wireless charger right in front of me, because it's easy to grab your phone from there versus trying to fiddle with like trying to get in here. It's a small car, so it's kind of cumbersome to put your hand in the center compartment while you drive. If it was a larger car like an SUV, it would feel comfortable just reaching your hand over and going in there. But this, because it's such a small car, it makes it, you have to kind of bend your hand really awkwardly to get into that compartment. What else? This is just me kind of rambling before I send this car in or trade this car in, because it's a car that I really like. Especially I like this car because it's so discreet. It's really, really discreet, and the power you have, or the power that this car makes, is really nice. One thing I realized is it's a better sounding engine and exhaust than the M2. The M2 sounds like a vibe. I don't know, it sounds deeper, it sounds rougher, it sounds like it has a little bit more bass, a little bit more heavy vibe than the M2, the M240. It sounds like that, and I really like that. Even at the exhaust, when you go back there and you're listening to it, it sounds like it has this deeper vibe, like it's almost angry to an extent. The M2 and the engine itself sounds really nice. It's smooth. It's just nice, and there's no vibration. It just smoothly goes. With the M2, when I went to test drive it, it sounded really like almost foil paperish, like tinny. I don't know how to explain it, but it sounded like less deep and more high-pitched vibes, which I don't know what the mechanics are behind those, or why the difference, why the change. Is that caused by the two turbos? I have no idea. I like to drive cars. I don't necessarily like to get too deep into the mechanics of them. But the M240 sounds way better, and I'm hoping that after I get the M2, I can find that love for that exhaust sound just as much as I love this exhaust sound, because this is really, really nice. It's quiet, but if you listen enough, or if you're close enough for a cold day, you will hear that anger that it has. And when you step on the gas, you hear that anger coming from the back. It's really nice. And I know a lot of this is piped in stuff, but even if you have the windows down, you'll hear what's piped in through the speakers and what's not, because it's obvious what's coming from outside versus what's coming from inside the car. So that sound is something I really, really appreciated in this car, and I'm really gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss this car. To be honest, I feel like after I drive the M2 for 2-3 years, I'm gonna just go back to this car. I'm gonna go back to an M240, and by then this M240 will probably be on its way out. That'll take us into like 2028, 2029. So it'll probably be on its way out as a model. So most likely I'm gonna pick up another M240 in about 3 years time, because this car is just so perfect. I have the rear wheel drive version, as I said before. I test drove the X-Drive before I bought the M240, and I test drove the rear wheel drive version, and I specifically went with the rear wheel drive non-staggered setup, because it gives you that much, I guess, risk, or it keeps you on your toes that much to, hey, don't play around with me. I can hurt you really bad if you would like me to. That vibe. Versus going with the X-Drive that felt really stuck on the road. When I drove the X-Drive, or when I test drove the X-Drive, you could feel that this car isn't going anywhere. I did it in dry weather, and you could just feel how much that car stuck to the road. It was like that car was glued to the tarmac or the street. I don't know what to say, but that car wasn't going nowhere. And if you try to just from a zero at a stoplight or whatever and try to go, that car is gonna go. It doesn't have any wheel spin. You think it's gonna have wheel spin because you're like, oh, putting down this much power, and you just hear, and then it just goes. That little split second of, oh, we're going, clicks in, tires hug the road, and you're gone. And that car is massively fast, insanely fast. The difference between this and that, I think on paper, one's like 4.2 seconds and the other one's 3.7 seconds. It's like a 0.5 second difference. That 0.5 second difference is manic. You feel it. You know you're in something fast when you have the X-Drive version of this M240. It is nuts. And when I drove that car, I said, this shouldn't even be on the street. I don't think this should be sold to normal people. Like, you should have some kind of license to buy this, or some special treatment to buy the car, because it was just that much rapid. And these are stock cars that I'm talking about. Cornering, I didn't do too much cornering in the M240 X Drive because I had it as a test drive. So, you know, on test drives, you don't go through too many windy roads. They just take you around the block a couple times and call it a day. But the few miles that I drove it on, you could feel that it didn't turn as well as the rear wheel drive. Just like U-turns, or, you know, going around slight corners, it was just that much heavier than the M240 rear wheel drive. And for that, I decided to go with the rear wheel drive version because I really just wanted to feel that cornering. That's something I enjoyed in my 230. It could take any corner at any speed at any time, really. There was no questions asked with my 230. Whatever you want to do, it was gonna do it. And I had the top speed lifted on that car from factory, so it'll do 155. And it had I don't know what package I had on there, I can't remember, but it had the bigger brakes. So the brakes, you could head into a corner whatever speed you like, brake, take the corner, and punch it coming back out, and it really worked. With this rear wheel drive version, I missed out, or I skipped out on the larger brakes, and the brakes on this M240 are just not my favorite. They will stop you, but I just don't. They're super soft, and I don't have the confidence in these brakes that I had in the brakes in my my 230i. I knew the 230i was gonna stop at any point. I don't know how long this M240 is gonna take to stop, and how much brake force I need. And that's something that I miss. Having brakes is something that I really, or people I guess people underestimate having brakes, or good brakes. I love good brakes. I think I love good brakes more than I love a fast car, because with good brakes you could push the car on road limits and be able to brake back on the gas and still go and keep that momentum, and you feel safe. You just feel super safe doing it. Without good brakes, with brakes that are kind of soft and long travel, you're like, oh my god, are we gonna stop? Are we gonna stop? Are we gonna stop? Oh, we stopped. I don't like that feeling. And hopefully with my M2, which is again another reason I'm switching to the M2, I felt the brakes in those. There's a mode in the M2 where you could go from comfort to sport brakes, or sport to sport plus, whatever that is. But it's basically giving your brakes a little bit more, I guess, not effort, but sharpness, intensity. And I will definitely enjoy braking in the M2. That's probably gonna be one of my favorite things. With this car, the M240, as I said, I really like this car. There's so much chill about this car in comfort mode. I've been in comfort. I'm averaging like 35 miles per gallon. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just cruising, following traffic along the freeway for the past couple hundred miles. It's comfortable. It's quiet. The cabin is like super quiet. And this is something I really enjoyed about the 230, the 240, and the M2. All those three BMWs that I've owned were super quiet inside. Everything could be happening outside. You will not know about it. And I really appreciate that, because it makes the ride just more chill. It makes listening to music more chill. Or, you know, you're hearing the music versus hearing everything else that's happening outside. Those things I really appreciate. And I appreciate them more than 0 to 60 times, to be honest. 0 to 60 times are, any car you tune, you can get the 0 to 60 quicker. But these small details that were put into this car. I also own a Tesla Model Y, and that car is also really insulated. Even though there's no engine or stuff noise, the insulation in that car makes you feel like you're in this cocoon. It has the glass ceiling, so everything makes it feel like you're just in a glass bubble, just rolling down the street. Nothing's gonna bother you outside. Whatever's outside, let it stay outside. Whatever's inside, we're gonna have a good quiet time in here. and I really, really, really do enjoy an insulated car. What else can we talk about with this car? I don't know. I like everything in this car. These are my favorite cars ever. I've had a decent amount of cars. The BMW 2 Series line, I've always wanted small BMWs, small two-door BMWs. Never really been into the M3s or the 340s or even the M4s, even though those are kind of small too. 5 Series are nice. I drove one, but they're more of a chill cruiser to me than anything else. I have not driven an M5, so I don't know. I have driven a 2. That's my favorite. Anything in the 2 Series line of BMW and the 7 Series line are my favorite. Those 2 lines of cars are my absolute favorite BMW. I've driven the X3, the X7s, the X5s. I've driven in an X4, and then obviously the 2, 3, 4, 5s. I've all driven those. Haven't driven a 6 Series, but the 7s are my second favorite. I love the 7 Series. Whatever number, 750, 760, whatever that looks like, because they all change each year. Those cars are just like, oof. They don't even drive on the road. They just basically float you to where you're going. And once you're done floating, you step out and you feel like you just got off a massage chair because it felt so great. The drive just felt so great and comfortable. It's roomy, it's spacious. I hope I'm on the right road right now. There's nothing that you need to do except just glide along the street. Just keep gliding until you get to your destination. I've also rode in the back of one, and that too was exceptional. I'm talking about the 7 Series here. Those are just like the ultimate. Just leave me alone. I just want to get where I'm going in peace. That's it. Yeah, but back to these 2 Series, the M240s, the 230s, and the M2. They're the perfect size car. I love small cars. I don't know why we need larger cars unless I'm, bringing stuff like I'm doing construction or some kind of work that requires me to have a truck or some larger vehicle towing stuff. And most people don't tow anything. They just bring stuff to the grocery store most of the day. And it is what it is. I've never wanted one of those SUV type cars. I've loved the size of this car on the road. It's not small where it's going to be like, oh, you're going to feel when you pass a 18-wheeler like the car is just being pushed away. No, it's really planted on the street. And it's just the perfect size. You could put it into parking spaces. They're kind of small, stuff like that if you live in a larger city and parking is kind of, scarce. So these, for me, are the perfect size car. The back seats are usable, and once I get the M2 in manual, there'll be more space in my back seats because I have to sit way more forward in order to get my clutch depressed all the way. So there'll definitely be more space in there. My legs are short. It is what it is. I have to get really close to the forward. When I do an automatic, I can sit all the way back because I only really need the balls of my soles really to do both brake and gas, so I can sit way back. But I'll probably have to sit a lot closer, which means I free up tons of space in the back. What else? These cars drive like nothing else. There's nothing that I've driven that drives like these M240s or 230s. You push these cars, they go. They want to go. There's no turbo lag really. I mean, there is turbo lag, but it's not like you're waiting on it to kick into gear so you could go. You just want to go, you go. And that's how I think a car should be. And I attribute that to part of it being the transmission, where the transmission in these are the ZF8, which I read something about it and I watched something technically about it. I don't know what half the stuff they said was about. I just like driving it. And one thing I could say for this car is once I start driving it, it knows me. I don't know how to explain it, but I drive other cars and it's searching for the gear. Like I'll put my foot down and it waits, I don't know, 1 second, 1.5 seconds to be like, oh, you want to go now? And then it's like, oh, okay, let me beep boop on his computer. And it's like, okay, here's the right gear, now go. This car doesn't have any of that. I want to go, it goes. I just want to go faster, it goes faster. I want to slow down, and then I want to go, it goes. It basically reads my right leg and knows exactly what I want to do at that moment. And that, I don't know if it's just how the gear ratios are mapped, or the power is mapped in the gear, or it's gearing down that fast and that smoothly that it puts me from like 7 to 6 and gives me that power right when I need it. I don't know what's happening under here. It's all rocket science, but all I can tell you is when I'm driving this, I'm never in want or in need for power. Whenever I put my foot down, it's there. I don't have to wait. It doesn't have to ask questions. It doesn't have to go check with its mom to see, can we give it power today, Mom? Can we give it power now? And then go, nope. It just does it. And it's so beautifully smooth at it. A lot of cars too, especially in Mercedes, when I drove a few different Mercedes, the gear downs, you come to a light and you're slowing down, and you feel each time it goes from 5th to 4th to 3rd to 2nd, and it'll have the and you feel it gearing down. I don't know when this car changes gear, basically. When we gear down, I have no clue. It just does it behind the scenes. It's so smooth, and I'm gonna miss that smooth transition. I'm so gonna miss that smooth, the transition in the transmission. I'm gonna miss that transmission and those gear transitions so much when I get my M2. One, because it's manual, I can't use them anymore. I don't have access to it. But also, it's so effortless, and this is literally one of the best automatic cars I've ever driven. And I've driven a decent amount of cars. Not owned, but I've driven a decent amount of cars. And this is the smoothest transmission I've ever felt in my life. Right now, we're just chilling at like 60, cruising along, and you don't know what gear you're in. And if I step on it right now, we're gonna go fast. I won't, because that'll take me way over the speed limit. But just stepping on it, it goes. And if I want to slow down and cruise, it hops back into it. This car also has eco mode. I didn't see that in the M2. I think they should have eco mode in the M2. I don't think every day I want to go fast, or some days I just want to cruise, or some days you're doing 400 miles on the freeway. You just need to get there. We're not trying to get there in any hurry or anything. We just want to smoothly coast, and hopefully that's somewhere I could find a nice coast in the M2 when I get it. But eco mode in this, I don't like it, mainly because it feels like it reduces the cylinders, and I think that's what it actually does. I know in Toyotas they used to do that thing where if you're in eco mode, you're only riding on like 2 or 3 cylinders and then once you step on it, the rest of the cylinders start working. I think it's fine for efficiency, but for this, eco mode doesn't help. I feel like I get just as good gas mileage in comfort mode, because I'm pressing the accelerator pedal less down. So in comfort, you just barely feather it and you can cruise along. In eco, I have to like step on it way down just to keep the same pace. And in my mind, that feels like it just burns more gas than anything else. The positive, I guess, in eco mode is stop-start when you're in traffic. But I don't know if that's helpful either. I think that just destroys the engine personally. And I read in the manual for this car that you should turn stop-start off when you're in traffic. So you shouldn't allow stop-start to happen when you're in traffic. So I don't know exactly when is stop-start actually useful, to be honest. I don't know, but it's not something I'm super happy about. Hopefully M2 has it. That would be interesting to see a manual stop-start. I've never driven a manual stop-start before. But either way, this car is fun. I love it. I know I've rambled on in this video. I was hoping to make this a longer video and cover everything that I've been meaning to cover over the past few weeks. Traction control in this car, if you want to go sideways, it just goes sideways. You turn it off, just get on an open parking lot or skid pad or wherever you want to be, just not where traffic is. Turn traction control completely off. press the accelerator and turn the steering wheel, and the car just goes in circles. It's the easiest car to drift, do a donut, whatever you want to do. It's super, super easy in this car to go sideways, in circles, every direction except not straight. Turn the traction control on, and you're super steady in rain, doing 85, 90. There's no hydroplaning. There's no whoa drifting from, like, you know, feeling kind of unnatural on the freeway. It just plants itself and goes. And honestly, before I bought this car, I thought I was gonna have a lot of issues with the rear wheel drive in the rain. And I was like, that's probably gonna be when I'm the most scared of driving this car. Turns out, nothing like that. You have to be a complete tool to get this car sideways or to hydroplane in the rain. You have to just be doing the most weirdest, outlandish things to get this car sideways in the rain with traction control on, because the systems do so much to keep you planted to the road. I don't know. I don't even have good tires. I just have the stock Pirelli run flats, that these P7 run flats. I don't think they're great tires, but they're just okay tires. And it keeps you steady, staggered setup on the freeway in the rain. You don't feel any movement at all. And that's the crazy, not necessarily, and that's the part where you feel like this car excels, because it could keep you so smooth and steady, but at the same time, if you turn everything off, it just becomes this wild, wacky, waveable, inflatable arm tool man type of thing that'll go left, right, around in circles. It'll do whatever you want, because it's light to me, and it's rear wheel drive. It just feels so nice. Hopefully in the M2 I can get that sense of lightness. I know it's a heavier car. The wheels are heavier, the wheels are bigger, so they're heavier. The tires are heavier and much larger than this car, so they're obviously more grippy. But these are 225s, so they're not very fat. They're really skinny tires, or relatively skinny tires. And hopefully the M2 will still be able to give me that wacky, waveable, inflatable arm tool man vibe if I turn the traction control off when I need to. There's a new mode in the M2 I'm not familiar with, MDM mode. I will explore that. Everyone online says to take it gradually, just do it from level 1, 2, 3, and increase as you get better or more comfortable with the car. I'll do that, but once I get in that car, we'll talk about that some more. Right now, this is all about the M240 and how much I love this car. I intend to make more content, everyone, so hopefully over the next few weeks, months, I'll have more consistent content about my journey moving from this 3 stages of the 2 Series, 230 to the M240 to the M2, and I hope you guys will enjoy that. I bought a car mount now, so I can make content while I drive. I've always wanted to do that. I've just been always too lazy to pay the $40 to Amazon to get it, and I installed it. It's not intrusive at all, which I really appreciate, and I can always just stick my camera up there and make more content as we drive. I'm gonna stick a GoPro up there at some point so you guys can see what I'm actually looking at, but sometimes I prefer you not knowing where I'm going. Yeah, so we'll catch back up after I take delivery of the M2 and say goodbye to my handy dandy M240, and we'll see you in a bit.